Okay, so I thought I'd detail what I've done so far. I haven't had enough time to film this properly, but I've literally just cut this shape. So I made my marks the other day. I've left plenty of meat to work up to on both sides, as you can see. So I've just cut them out of the way because this is where the Clubman hinge, oops, just point the camera while you're talking. That's where the Clubman hinge goes. So it's going to be quite close to this edge here, but I can always take more off. I can't add it on as easy. The fitment is a bit of a concern, but I've got a scuttle panel to go in. There are some slight fitment issues, but I mean I guess it's a Mini at the end of the day. I'm going to have to make it work somehow. But next I've got the bonnet to go on. We'll see whether the bonnet fits in this gap at the front, because previously on the other front end there was no way. So I can at least put it on now and check that the wing gaps are correct and start getting an idea of what the car's going to look like. Afternoon. You join me back at the car, and as you might be able to see behind me, I have been a little busy. There might follow now some snippets and little bits that I've done. There wasn't time to video because I was going to have to take pick the kids up from school, take them swimming and all that jazz, but the wife's volunteered to do that so I can get on with this, which is very kind of her. So I have sort of bolted the Clubman front on, only with clamps, but the bonnet's on properly. Everything should be correct. So I'm gonna give you a quick look at what I've done. So the bonnet is attached properly. There is, for a Mini, an acceptable sized panel gap all the way around there. The bonnet doth lifteth up. I have got my Retro Sport Clubman hinges. Yeah, quite happy with that. The bits that are going to prove challenging, well, here's the first one. Bonnet fits nicely on the scuttle. Clearly something's not quite right with the front end. Big panel gap that end, small panel gap this end, and then we have the opposite situation here. So, oh no, I hear you scream, the subframe's bent. Well, I don't think it is. I think it's just a bad pressing on the wings. I mean, the front panel itself, it's only the lower panel. I haven't put the eye sockets in yet, or the top panel. I'm going to kind of build it around something that fits, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I've got some solid mounts. If I spin it in there, you might be able to see. I fitted some solid Mini spares front panel mounts, and I know sometimes they do require a little bit of shimming, but they're properly held in with this panel now. So yeah, I don't think there's an issue with anything position wise on the front panel. It looks sort of okay, but I'm not ruling anything out. It could be something silly like one of the brackets down here or here in the wrong place. But I mean, when you look through at the subframe, it kind of looks level, which that satisfies half the worries for me that the front panel is wrong. There's a chance that the wings are wrong, or they need pulling round, or yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to try and figure that out. But I do have a new scuttle, because not only did I bung up these holes so you lose a bit of bright work off of it, but I had the extinguisher and the battery port here, which I'm not going to retain. And these ends were replaced probably when I'm trying to think when I did it, about 2005, 2006, so early in my welding days. So, and they were pattern parts, not genuine ones. So as you can see, the fitment around there ain't great. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of rust creeping here, but generally these are actually solid. It's actually solid, but unfortunately I am going to have to cut it off. It's not the end of the world. It's just a kind of a cut there and a lot of spot welds along and around, but we'll get there eventually. So yeah, that's where it's at. I'm going to investigate the front panel. The annoying bit is that means taking out the front screen, covering up the interior. So I'm hoping to get the front end sort of half fitted before it comes to that point. Right, I've rabbited on enough. I'm going to stop this, have a good hardcore stare, think, and then make a decision on what I'm doing next. Also, I am going to be taking apart, obviously I'll remove the number plate, but I'm going to take apart the lights off here and the wiring loom I've got on the back, and I'm going to be selling the front end. Not that it's particularly pretty, but you know, it's functional. So if someone's got a rallycross or grass track or track day basher and they're looking for a front end, I'll be putting this on marketplace fairly soon. So yeah, kind of nice to see it with a square front though. I mean, I've missed it. I really missed it. I went and sat in the car a little while ago and just sat there looking at the Clubman front, because the front end of a Mini looks completely different with the Clubman front from inside. So yeah, it's exciting. Right, yeah, enough waffling, and now for some good staring and thinking. Okay, it's update time. Don't know if you can see anything different from here. Oh, I've got a bit of dust in my eye. Okay, so yes, the gap here is large, but you know, there is room in it. The gap here is still small. I have had it better, but I have jiggled things around a bit, but the bonnet now at least lifts and closes. But what I've had to do, slightly disturbingly, you can see the subframe and the front panel are sitting kind of level. It's hard to see exactly, but I've had to move the front panel up and that way, quite some margin. I mean, I've gone as far as I can. There's no way those holes are going to line up. I mean, they're miles. I mean, down through this one here. Where is it? Where is the camera? Camera bit's there. I mean, you can't even see the hole. It's so far out. I mean, it's yeah, it's diagonally that way to get the front bits lining up. So I mean, that's not great. I think I'm going to have to pull the original scuttle off, tidy up the edges, because there's some really untidy edges there. I'll cut them off. When I say there, I'm talking all the way up there on the corner of the scuttle. You can see in here really ugly ugly edges. I'm wondering, I mean, again, looking at the scuttle, there is, it's sitting high for some reason, but you've got no gap, no gap, no gap, no gap, a big gap over this side. And it's kind of hard to really see why. So I've dropped the hinges, I've tried to align everything on the hinges. I just can't really see what is wrong. I'm going to start getting the tape measure out in a second, and I'm going to have a little measure up to see whether maybe the bonnet has been welded up wrong or something, because I'm yeah. I mean, I expected, I bought Heritage panels, and I hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, they're a Peter fit, blah blah blah, but they're a much better pressing, much better quality metal, yada yada yada. So okay, fair enough, you know, I'll get the Heritage ones. But then you try and fit them. I mean, like, I'm kind of wishing that, so I don't know if I think M Machine do them, or is it one of the other aftermarket panel makers, and everyone says, oh, but they're really hard to fit. This is really hard to fit. I mean, oh, this is the other thing I've spotted. Where are we? So I've got my panel gap to 0 here with a clamp, but by the time you get down here, you have a big panel gap, because I've had to lift the front end up so high to try and make everything sit straight. I mean, something's just not, something's not tallying. I can't really fathom what it is. Could be the A panels. I mean, who knows? I might detach from the A panels and take the wings off, lift the bonnet up, cut those bits of the corners on the scuttle, there and there, and yeah, then see where I'm at. So it's something, I mean, I was hoping to use the original fixing for the subframe, so I want to get a tape measure out as well and just see whether everything's in the middle. It could just be everything is severely lopsided, and I might be taking this front panel back. Who knows? Yeah, I'm going to have a little play with the tape measure. So yeah, that's the update for now. More thinking, more sitting and thinking and staring. Yeah, that's it basically. Okay, as you may have noticed, there was a lot of staring, a lot of sitting down, a lot of laying down, measuring. I've taken the wings off, I've had a good measure, I can see what's wrong, but as to where the problem lies, I mean, I'm down to 3 things, so I think the wings are pretty good, they appear to be pretty good. So I'm just going to show you what I've noticed. So, right, this is obviously nice 90 corner. You'd assume that this whole bit is front. In fact, actually, you know what? I can show you. I've got a nice big... It's not going to be level because the car's not on level ground. But that is a, give or take, a smudge, a flat surface. So I'm going to measure up from there. See the bubble is all the way over that way. If I put it on the, I can't put it on the subframe, I have to get the other one out. But yeah, what I was going to show you. So I'll get this set square right in the corner, and it marries up with that corner of the bonnet there. Kind of expected, you know. I'll go to this side, and there appears to be a bit of a gap here. I mean, that's a big gap. So I'm trying to figure out exactly whether it's is the bonnet, has it been pressed wrong? I mean, it's really hard to kind of figure out where the problem lies. It could be the bonnet has been made like that, but honestly, looking at standing back and looking at it, it could be the case. But you can see the post I've got in the middle there, that goes from exactly the middle of the subframe to the middle of the bonnet, and it is sitting over at that angle. So either the subframe or the front panel is that way, or the bonnet is that way. But it's just trying to fathom what exactly it is. I mean, measurement wise, I can't really see anything wrong. I've done corner to corner on the bonnet, and that looks good. It's to within, say, 5mm the same measurement. I mean, I don't think 5mm was probably outside of Rover build tolerances. But to have, like, what's that, 1.5 inches out from the scuttle to the front subframe is a little concerning. So I've got to really have a good measure. Maybe the subframe is bent, but I didn't measure it when I first started, and I did check once I'd finished welding, but I'll double check now it's bolted on the car. But I mean, I just can't believe how far out that is. I mean, yeah, there could be a degree of the bonnet's not sitting quite straight, but it ain't that far out. So maybe if I take the front panel off and bolt a wing on, just on the outer edges, maybe it's where these panels here weld onto the back. Maybe there's a slight alignment issue here. It just doesn't look like there is, but there's something amiss. I've just got to find where. Even if I can't find where, maybe I just need to make adjustments to make it fit. I mean, it's a very difficult shape to try and then find what's wrong. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm up to. More head scratching, measuring and thinking to come. Because, I mean, otherwise, you know, apart from the horrendous fitment issues, it looks pretty good. I just can't fathom where the problem lies. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do some more measuring and thinking and probably swearing, and I might go and get a cup of tea. Yeah, there should be more in a bit. Okay, am I recording? I am recording. Situation update. Many hours have now passed. There has been a lot of staring. I've asked people for help. People are giving me ideas. I've checked a lot of things, and I think I found what's happened. I don't know why yet. Could could be me, could be many things, but I'm going to show you what I've done. So a couple of people messaged me, well, I messaged a few people and asked what was going on. So what I've done is I've found here, I'm slightly off the wonk there, I have shut the bonnet on this. So that's the centre of the car there. And I measured it, made sure that is the centre of the car there, and it lines up nicely with the centre of the bonnet. So my question, I was wondering whether maybe the bonnet had been, you know, the centre of the bonnet was doing this. But it does appear not. It does appear that I've done the centre of the bonnet down the centre of the car and everything looks good. I've got another mark on the back of the car, so I've done a line across the roof to there, down to here, and checked to the front. And I also checked down here. And what it showed me, and what I'm about to show you, hopefully, if I creep down here like this, you will see what I can see. So about there, you'll see on this side, we are more or less level with the, what do we call it, subframe mount. Over here, there's somewhat of a gap. It's doing that. The front of the subframe appears to be the twisted bit, which I was most upset about. As you can imagine, having put weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of work into welding it up, strengthening it, everything else, and don't get me wrong, it fits on the car, albeit it was a pig on one side, yes, to line up, but nothing was that far out of alignment. So I don't know whether the car is twisting the subframe or whether the subframe is just proper wonky and I've now strengthened it in a wonky state, or whether the welding has overheated it, stressed it, twisted it. I didn't have a jig to put it in, so you know. But it is very clear the subframe is what's wrong. I'll see if I can show you this. Where's my little spirit level? So I'm gonna put my spirit level. The car is not sitting on level ground, but if you look in here, you can see the spirit level is all the way over to one side. It's more or less as far over as it can be. So I'm going to pull it out now, and I'm going to put it on the Clubman front. And it's an awful lot closer. If I go, it's, you know, you've got this much drop. I mean, that's quite a lot. So that trend continues. Push the button. That trend continues down here. So you've got a not. The bubble is sort of halfway to a little way over here. Zoom into there so you can see it. The bubble is, you can see that you're in almost the middle of the bubble there when you're in the middle of the subframe. Put it back over here onto the car, and it's very clearly all the way up one end. Brighten that up for you. So there is a difference in the level between there and there. Now when you put the string line down, because I've got the mark in the centre of the bonnet, again measured from either end, made sure it tallies with the centre of the bonnet there, comes down, tallies with the front here, you know, does it tally? If you line it up at the bottom of the panel, it's very clearly off centre here. So it's like the front is doing that. So the whole front of the subframe is doing the wonk. So I have got round behind the car, amongst all the junk, the original subframe. So again, it's got a centre mark on it. There were things that I thought were questioned about the original subframe, hence why I got this subframe. So I'm going to take all of this off and I'm going to put the original subframe back in and see if the problem is still there. I've dropped NDAF a message and said, do you straighten subframes? I've also asked if I can just buy a modified one, because you know it gets to the point where I've wasted so much time on this. I just want to crack on. It needs to be a rolling shell so I can crack on and do other bits. But I mean, this angle here is really quite convincing. You can see very clearly that the front is wonky. So yeah, I'm going to take everything off, and then yeah, the whole front's going to come off, take the panels back off, take the bonnet off. I now know the bonnet's in the right place, it's lined up okay. If only I could keep the damn thing up there, it'd be nice. I might find a pulse if I can do that actually. But put the original subframe back on and see whether the problem's still there. It could just be the subframe. It could be that I need to buy a brand new subframe. That would be a sad day. So, yeah, I think possibly some time lapse may occur now. Okay, I'm just going to show you what I have discovered. So if you look here, I've levelled up, just, you know, simple. Put a hammer under it, put a spirit level across the top. It's sort of sitting on the tops, you know, sort of where it needs to be. And it's absolutely as level as I can get it without having one of them really expensive level gauges. So I'm now going to move this level onto the front of the subframe. The subframe is twisted by, if I was to lift that up, what's that about the same? So look at the gap here. That is the gap. Oh, that's the sort of size of an M10. Have I got a nut? Hang on. I haven't got anything handy to show you, but I mean, you're talking about a fair chunk of, yeah, it's about sort of 13, 14 mil twisted, which I'm really upset about because it's a lot of time and effort put into making this stronger. And oh, you know, I'm sure it is stronger now, but so broken. I'm going to get the other subframe here now with the level it up, and then see how level the front of that is before I even bother putting it in, because it could be the same thing with that. It could be that actually I've ended up with two twisted subframes. So yeah, just give us a minute on that one. Let's get the other one swapped over. Okay, strengthened subframe out of the way. Rusty old subframe that had given me issues before, hence the white paint mark aligning it. Leveled it up on the floor here. That's fairly well, you know, what you want to call it. I'm not going to go with a degree number, but I'd call that in the middle. I'll put it down here. And it is ever so slightly twisted the other way, but we're talking, hang on, if I get down, that's what, 5 mil? 5 mil of twist as opposed, well, in the opposite direction, as opposed to 13 mil of twist that way. So I'm going to just rest this one back in the hole, and for shits and giggles, just, you know, see what happens. So yeah, time lapse again. It's only gone and bloody done it. If I lift this up, well, I'll hold it right at the end, there you go. We are level there, and I'm holding it like that. So level. Place it on the same point in the front. Damn near level. I did it a bit more scientifically with a couple of these stacked up underneath it. But yeah, I mean, it's all the way over to one side there. You can't really see what's what it is, but put it on there and it's the same all the way over to one side because the car's not sitting on a nice level bit of ground. I'm going to try and fit the panels back on the car now and see what happens. Annoying as this is, I have at least got a subframe. Think positively. It just needs a bit of a tidy up, and I've got to buy another subframe strengthening kit, and I might just tack it on in the car this time so that it can't distort. Yeah, okay, I'll put time lapse back on and fit the panels again. What can I do? It only bloody fits. Well, at least I know what's wrong. It's not the panels. It was me. Or the subframe before I welded it, or I don't know. Here goes. Never mind. So, literally, I've got one clamp at the top there. Hang on, I'll turn this off and I'll see if I can get the light on. Okay, I hope you can see this. I've got one clamp at the top, and I've got one clamp in there. Same again this side, over there. The panel gap, a bit bigger than I'd like to see. You know, that's not unexpected based upon the gap I've got here and this poor fitting corner. And it's the same here, but it is even on both sides, all the way down. The bonnet opens and closes nicely. So I mean, you can see where, I'm assuming this is not a, I'm assuming it's not a defect in the bonnet. I'm hoping it's not a defect in the bonnet. It might be a defect in the bonnet. There's a bulge about here, I don't know if you can really see. So it could be a bulge in the bonnet, it could be a flat spot in the scuttle. I'm not going to be surprised at either, to be fair, but I will get a bit of pressure on that and try and flatten it out, because it could just be something, yeah, could just need a bit of persuasion, should we say. But, I mean, that is a Clubman front fitting on my car. That's something nice. Yeah. I mean, as for the gaps down here, so yeah, there's always going to be panel gap issues. There's a tiny little step here. This could easily be beaten around and fixed. They sort of meet up here. They sort of meet up there. A slightly bigger gap here, but I mean, yeah, if this wing was in where it should be, it'd be the same. And it, you know, it's not all bad. Okay, so from a disappointing day, yeah, that's an awful lot of progress. I'm going to run the string line now. Just give me a. I've lost my weight off the. I had a weight on the bottom of it. Right, give me a second. So I've got my string line sitting in the centre. And if you step back, I'll go at the back of the garage is the easiest place, but it won't pick up on the camera. So I am lining up the centre of the garage. Centre of the car at the top meets with the centre of the car at the windscreen. it meets a nice straight line as it goes all the way down the bonnet to the very centre of the front end. It then carries on down to the mark that I've got on the top and bottom, and it hits the centre mark of the subframe, give or take 5mm. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. So, oh, bright light. I've now got a decision to make. Yeah, I've got a decision to make. So either I get another strengthening kit, or I just plug on with the standard subframe. I mean, I am putting a lot of horsepower through it. That's my only concern. That's why I was doing all of this. You know, the subframe was designed for holding up 35 horsepower. You double it to put 72 in for an MG Metro engine or something like that. That's, you know, it was still within build spec. They didn't change it. I'm now doubling that again to sort of potentially 130, maybe 140 horsepower. That's, you know, a big percentage increase in what the subframe's trying to hold on to. That's why I was doing the strengthening kit. Looking at the kit now, I'm just looking at the bits. I might be able to cut that off and refit it to this one. That's some thought, isn't it? Yeah, scrap all the seam welding idea for now. I could leave it bolted to the car, tack everything where I want it, and weld it up. I literally cut it off. I've got a thin blade. I mean, down here, I literally run a cut down there, run a cut there. It's only going to be, I could cut this kit off, obviously the damaged side being the subframe. I could cut it off and then do everything that I did here on here. That's a thought, isn't it? Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is literally just tidy up and go to bed. I've been on a week of early shifts this week, which is 6 AM starts. It's not pleasant. Could do with a good night's sleep, and I will come at this with a fresh head tomorrow or into next week. Just let my brain have a little tinker on it for a bit. So yeah, you've joined me for a massive disappointment, and actually I think through the jaws of defeat I have found the glimmer of light, and actually, yeah, I'm feeling more positive than I was an hour ago. An hour ago I was ready to burn this thing to the ground. Yeah, okay, we'll leave it there, and thank you for watching and joining me on this journey. As you can see, it's been a challenging one. I'm hoping that this is the worst of the challenges now, and that everything then just goes nice and easy peasy from here on in. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, goodbye.